Hello, my name is Johnny Slamo, as some of you may know. I'm 23 years old. Today it is currently July 17th, approximately noon. I am currently living in Florida, and within about a week, I'm going to be taking a trip back up to Pennsylvania in preparation of moving. And I thought I wanted to document it. I thought I should maybe use the internet, which I'm on so often, for something productive, something good. But yeah, I just feel a lot of things recently, and I know a lot of other people probably are too, and I don't want to idly sit around and just think them and let them pent up. If you don't know anything about me, I kind of have a background in technology personally, not like family lineage wise, but I was always fascinated with video games and animation when I was younger. I wanted to naively either be a video game creator or an animator. I loved cartoons. I loved my Nintendo 64. I was born in 98, but you know, I didn't always have the newest consoles. And I feel many people feel this way. Many of the youth feel this way. Like, kids are obsessed with certain TV shows, and they're enthralled with the concepts that are presented to them in a lot of TV shows. And I don't think this is coincidental. I think a lot of things are meticulously designed to make people think certain things, not only in obviously the news, like people feel this very strongly, but in entertainment as well. And I think all of that stuff that I used to admire a lot is weaponized, and it probably has been my whole life, and I was just subject to it and didn't really know or acknowledge it until now. And also at the time, I was kind of the belief that there is this like holy grail of science, and you know, modern science is the holy grail of knowledge, and there is one strict like database of empirical knowledge that is from whatever, you know, derives from the world's largest academic institutions, and all the money being funded into this is just facts, and everything else is up for debate or just belief, or it's not proven yet. The only things that we could ever possibly base our actions on are these types of scientific things we are taught. You know, basically, don't trust your intuition. Any experience you have personally is null and void because it's not backed by an academic paper funded by Coca-Cola or something of the sort. You know, I thought if you were sick, you went to the hospital and they made you better because obviously there's so many hospitals and so much money, and that's where you go when you're sick, that we have all this stuff figured out, which obviously isn't the case. And I had health issues when I was younger, and I think like it's becoming more and more of a common thing that people have chronic health issues. People are very young and have health issues that are you know, haven't existed even 100 years ago, or are considered something that is like for old people or aging people. And I mean, I always felt to some degree that something was wrong, and looking back now especially, I think of specific times where things didn't really add up, but you know, you're a kid and there's people who are above you or who are supposed to be knowledgeable people that you go to that teach you things. And I mean, even as full grown adults, we're taught this, right? Like, you go to your doctor and he teaches you what to do with your health. You go to your mechanic, they'll tell you what to do with your car or whatever. And I never really processed a lot of these things, and every time I would question them or ask them inquisitively, not aggressively, I feel I would always be shut down. And this just led me to not believe myself, not question things, and it creates a lot of resentment. And I think it did make me antisocial, and I think it led me to be contrarian to some degree, because, and still to this day, you know, just question even the most researched and things that are considered common knowledge, because of the fact that you know, when you do present alternatives or you question alternatives to what is considered the standard rigid structure, you are met with aggression from people that are in a higher power than you, people that are older than you, people that have more money than you. And you know, a part of that is also accepting that, is because when I was younger, many people also probably relate to this, my parents just told me the way you make money is you get a good job, you get a really good job, and they'll take care of you. And the way you get a good job is you know, an education, and a good job and an education will leave you to stable money, you'll have a stable life, you will be able to, you know, live the American dream, white picket fence, wife and kids, etc., etc. And you know, that obviously is not true. I mean, I know more people with college degrees that have no job than people that don't have degrees who have successful jobs. And I mean, so many people are in college debt. I don't have to explain all these things. These are all things that most people probably know at this point. And, you know, it's hard to find a job, at least all this stuff I'm speaking from an American perspective. I was born and raised in America. And I do think this is the epicenter of most of these things. So as a result of that, when I was younger, I am just a kid. I'm going to do either what I find enjoyable to do, which was video games or whatever stupid thing at the time. And I'm going to do what I'm told to do, which is get an education, get a job, and eventually you will be set on the right track. And I did question these things, like I said, to some degree, but I still went ahead and did that. And I had the fascination with technology and all these things. So gaming, of course, my preferred method of gaming was on the computer. I could build a computer at a rather young age. And I was told I needed an education, so I got into IT security. I took classes throughout high school, and then eventually I did go to college and got an associate's degree in IT security, which I have not gotten a job in at all. And these things didn't amount to much. These things, I feel, did not teach me as much as things I was teaching myself. These things had me working on stuff I really didn't feel a part of or connected to, like working for a company as an IT person. I don't think anyone truly, genuinely has that job and loves it and is in love with their company and feels like they're doing life-changing work. Maybe there are, and maybe there are people who are happy doing that. More power to them. But in terms of me and most of the people I encountered in my education and on campus and stuff, that was not the vibes I was getting. So I eventually did deconstruct most of these things that I said were building up, like my adherence to the scientific method or whatever. Not to shit on any of these like actual scientific things. I do think they have a purpose in place. I do think they're real to some degree, but they're being misguided by larger institutions. So if I ever make a joke about any of this stuff, I mean, I'm not acting like I'm a fucking oracle who is all-knowing and omniscient. Obviously that's not the case. I wouldn't be sitting here making a fucking YouTube video. But I did have a psychedelic experience, and I had a rebirth in my connection to nature. I always lived in a rural spot in Pennsylvania. I was surrounded by nature. I was surrounded by trees. If I stepped outside, I would hear birds chirping. You know, I lived on a road called Bear Road most of my life. Because you're just in the middle of the woods. There's all these things. And I think that is a part of the juxtaposition in me being told constantly I need to get a job, and technology is the way of the future, and this is how you get money, and this is how you create stability. And it kind of makes you like choose one or the other, right? And I shut a lot of that out and just went focused on the technology stuff. I was kind of a shut-in until recently. I had a psychedelic experience. I deconstructed a lot of what I was taught, both in school and by, you know, people who really just genuinely wanted me to have a good life, have a good job, have money, have nice things, whatever that means, and just have more of an open mind. And now I believe that nature and biology is more complex than we could ever imagine. I think science has this tiniest idea of what is happening within nature. And I do think we are getting closer and closer, as we're always told, to whatever that end goal might be, the truth, to knowing the factually everything about the universe. And I do think these things are possible, but at what cost? And you know, who are the people in power that this is currently benefiting at the expense of other things, like, you know, the destruction of Earth and nature. And I'm not like, I do believe climate change is real. I do think we are fucking up the planet to some degree. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh my God, if we don't stop using all cars tomorrow, we're all gonna die, and you know, it's gonna be meteor showers and stuff like this. And in order to be carbon neutral, like, I think most of the environmental takes have been turned and flipped on their head and turned into industries, and are just like using people's goodwill and desire to have a connection to nature and weaponizing that as well. And I do think that, like I just said, nature and biology is more powerful than science ever could be. And I do think to some degree, like, the people working on this and the people funding scientists and funding all these things know this, and they definitely know more than I could ever imagine. Like, we know more probably about atoms and molecules and nuclear bombs than than the average person thinks that we think we know, if that makes sense. But of course, since that can't all be immediately proved by science, it's not real. Excuse me. But when I did this, had this experience, I solved a lot of health issues I had on my own. Changed a lot of habits, dove pretty deep into my psyche and addressed a couple things which I was living under the impression under, that made me rather bitter and pessimistic and not care about my health, and made me overweight. And I didn't believe in a lot of these things that can help you break down your pretty much your ego and actually better yourself and better the life for the people around you, which is always directly in opposition. It is always completely opposed to these things that I was always taught, like get a job, you need money, you need to do good for yourself, in ways that are just acquiring tangible objects or feeding the system and the machine. And when I had this breakthrough, I realized more and more it was not just me that's having these problems, and it's not just me that is facing these issues. It's not just me that is feeling these subconscious ulterior motives that are going on within all these systems we have, within the flow of money, within policies, within technology advancement. And the more research I did, the more acclaimed I became with actual technology and understanding networking and understanding electricity and all these things, and they're all connected. The more I understood this is not just me being affected, this is probably large groups of people, and I represent my peers to some degree, because I feel like I fit the mold of many different types of people, and I see many, especially men around my age group who've never had these types of realizations, and they continue on these paths that are very self-destructive for them, but are building a future for people that want them dead, essentially. Not want them dead, but could care less about them. And this goes along with, when I say the things I've learned technologically, is a lot of people to some degree know that like their phone is listening to them, but knowing the insane depth of data tracking online and the fact that the internet was from conception built by DARPA. It is a derivative of the DARPA net, which was created by the US government for the US military. And packet switching and all this stuff was created by and for communications of the US military, of the US government, and a select few of people that eventually turned into the internet. And I don't think the internet as a whole is providing for those people that built the framework, and is providing for the people that are doing the creating on the internet. And a lot of the data is being just stolen, and not only in relation to the government and the military, but the privatization as well, and this private public communication, integration, enmeshment, which is working together against the average person, against the average American, against anyone on the internet, against anyone trying to become civilized, as they would call it, against anyone trying to better their technology, and like the whole first world, third world type bullshit. Like, third worlders are just like stupid, and they just don't understand technology and this, that, and the other. And in reality, the people who are connected to these systems are losing more than they're gaining. The people controlling the systems obviously are getting the benefits of this. And a lot of this is intentionally controlled. A lot of this is intentionally obfuscated, and I'm talking about data on the internet. Like, when you create something, when you do anything on the internet, that action itself is quantified, and it is sold as data. Like, interactions are sold. You're being watched. You are being manipulated. People don't own their data, but they're on here working every day. And not only that, but not even like end users just like me and you on the internet, just the people who have built the infrastructure of the internet, and how the average person has been stolen from throughout that entire process. I mean, if you just think about the sheer amount of telecommunication lines that have to go up, and the electricity that has to be, the infrastructure that has to be built, and all the coding that all the individuals did, and all these open source programs, and all this hardware that was made, all by people that are making a penny for every $1 billion, for every penny these people make. The ones who have created this and the ones who have owned this, the server in which all your data is going, these people are making profit, and they are making not only monetary value, but like, they're changing policies, and they're changing real life, like societal structures that oppress people. And I do think it's already gotten this far. I do think this was the intention when it was concepted, and I don't think it's going to get any better unless it's deconstructed first. And I hear all this stuff about Web3 and the Metaverse and cryptocurrency, and I own cryptocurrency, I own Bitcoin, I own these things, but I'm always told that crypto is going to make everyone rich, and Web3 is going to be the next big thing. It's going to connect kids in Africa, and it's going to give them a chance to live. And it's like, it's just the next continuation of this internet concept, where people are putting in this work, but slowly being manipulated, and things are being tweaked, and policies are being changed, and you're signing off your rights at the click of a button. And through these actions, you slowly are giving away your life essence, and you're giving away your permission to a smaller group of people. And it's like further tying real life to an imaginary, oppressive, interconnected global conscience. And the more I'm in nature, the more I see these connections, and the more I do think there is some sort of natural aspect or element to them, but it is being weaponized, and it is being, taken over and controlled by a select few. And I mean, just with the crypto in general, and I hear all these things like the financial literacy, I feel like this was also happened to financial literacy among people, regardless of the internet. And people were told certain things about money many years ago, and we've gotten to this point where the dollar loses like 5% of value every year, and people just think that's okay. And that's because of the policies that are being enacted, and because of the way people that control their money and the way people trust the bank with their money. Obviously, I mean, this is a lot of things that are said by crypto people, but I don't think crypto is the solution. I think crypto is the next continuation of this oppression. And they like to act like money is a natural thing. Money is not a natural thing. Money is man-made. Not to say that there's not some sort of power backing money, but when you give money that power by using it, that's the power that is in money. And that same power can be manipulated, like I'm saying, the same way the internet is. And the more it's created, the more X amount of people have the money, as opposed to a certain group of people. They're going to control what the money is about, and they're going to control the rules of the money. And you know, when you're an active participant in these things, you, to some level, are giving permission for it to be happening. You are saying, I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to continue going on Netflix. I'm going to continue to give whatever amount of money for a candy bar at the store when they ask me for it, because I value candy bars and my accessibility to candy bars over having actual wealth and actually owning things. And, you know, I think it's, to go back to the beginning, it's very similar to these, when you watch a movie or when you play a video game. And I was enthralled with these as a kid. When you participate in these things, you are giving power to its mere existence, and you're giving power to whatever may be behind these things that you're enjoying. That a lot of people say, oh, I don't care, why are you being such a Debbie Downer, worrying about the meaning behind the Avengers? Just shut the fuck up and watch the movie. But in reality, when you give money to watch a movie and you sit and dedicate 2 hours of your time and you contribute to this collective consciousness of other people that are also watching and doing the same thing, you are giving power to whoever is creating that movie. You're giving power to whatever company created that storyline to subliminally message every single person watching it. And I do think most people monetarily in the real world, digitally, you know, within personal relationships, within school, they feel these things that are subconsciously wrong that they don't want to speak out about. And, you know, the more you do that, you're like an ant. You're like a little slave worker, and you're just doing and doing and doing, and you're just doing what you're told to some degree. And I don't know, I see these parallels within nature, and I see them like, literally, it's like cattle. When you when you tell an animal, stay in one place because I don't want you to run away, because I want you to be harvested in X amount of time, the animal has the power to revolt. Like, really, the animal has the power to fight back. If 500 cow wanted to one day attack a farmer, wanted to attack a sheepdog, they would win. But there's these micro exchanges in which the animal is is accepting its immediate comfort for a long-term life of something that is not best for the creature and something that is not going to make it strong. And it is trading immediate comfort, it's trading the stability of being able to live for a very long life, and it's trading the experiences it might have having to run away from a predator that would make it stronger. It's not letting itself experience these things where it could mate with another potential animal that would strengthen the gene pool. This is just a metaphor, but to give an example, but I've been farming, I've been around these animals a lot more, and I see these parallels, especially within my whole life. I've not been around these things. I sat on my computer, I've sat on the internet for so many years before making these connections. And I want to get back to that. I want to, I think, first become self-sufficient, and I want to, when I put work into something, I want to feel the results of that work. And I think that's being robbed from a lot of people, and I think the internet is how it's happening. And I think Web3 is the continuation of that, and I think the Metaverse is the continuation of that. And I don't think you can be a self-governing body if you don't understand the things you're using, if you don't fully understand the tools you're using. But anyway, I just had to get that off my chest. I might edit this, I might not. I'm gonna be recording all of this. I'm going to be recording my journey in Pennsylvania. So stay tuned, motherfuckers. Stay tuned.